Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch transfer.
It's probably the least sexy part of the work, and I don't. It's okay. No. The truth is,
From living out of his truck at 27 to generating over $90 million in sales for high-growth tech startups, Mark J. Silverman's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. But his story isn't just about financial success. It's about resilience, reinvention, and redefining what true leadership looks like. Mark has transformed personal adversity into a mission, helping high achievers become effective, grounded leaders who can thrive under pressure without losing sight of their humanity. Today, he's a best-selling author, speaker, executive coach, and host of the Rising Leader podcast, which you have to listen to, where he equips leaders with tools for clarity, presence, and purpose. His book, Only Tens 2.0, has sold over 75,000 copies, and he released the Rising Leader Handbook to take his message even further. So I'm going to let him get on me right away, because before we even started interviewing, I don't know where my mind's at today, but I've been calling him Mike. So, Mark, first of all, I want to apologize and welcome to the show, man.
No, that's great, Ted. It's good to be here.
I knew you were going to get me back somehow or another.
Okay.
Hey, that's all right. This ain't no lie. This was recent. I had a author on. Second time he was on. Good conversation. And at the end, he's like, "Thanks a lot, Bob."
Yeah. I'm sorry, this isn't the Tim Ferriss podcast?
Yeah, I wish, man. All right, so I want to go back to when you were 27 and living out of your truck. What was the turning point that shifted you from survival mode to rebuilding your life?
Borrowing money from my brother. It was that simple. Someone actually asked me the other day, it was actually a potential client who was going through he went through my biography, and he asked me what the catalyst was for each change. And the catalyst for every change, every growth that I've had was someone coming into my life and making a suggestion and me grabbing on with both hands. So it was my brother. I was calling my brother and saying, "Listen, I need some money. I got no food. I got no place to stay. Can you wire me some money?" And this was 1989, so there was no Venmo. There was no. So he's like, "Sure, I'll
good old Western Union.
I'll Western Union use some money. But why don't you come to Washington D.C.? I own a bunch of restaurants. Come here and borrow the money and regroup and all that." And I'm like, "I can't come to Washington, D.C. I'm in Seattle. I think I was in either Portland or Seattle when I called him." And,
wow.
And he said, I said, "I can't." He says, "You've been driving all around the country, living in your truck. Come to Washington, D.C." So I started driving west. The thing I didn't know was, and neither one of us knew, is you can only wire money to a specific Western Union office. And I could only make phone calls on payphones, call and collect. So I was never able to get the money. So I drove across the country.
Oh, wow.
The only money I had was on a Unicall 76 card, which was a gas station.
Oh my God.
So I got gas and ate at Unicall 76 stations and came to Washington, D.C. and, found my brother's house. And when I landed here, he said, "Okay, you can stay with me, but you need to go to AA with me and my friends, AA and NA, and you're going to take college classes and you're going to go to the gym and you're going to run with us." And I'm like, "I got no place to go. I got nothing to do."
Yeah.
And it turned out that my brother was several years sober. He had a whole sober group of friends because my brother dealt with addiction also. So I got from the start, I got in the middle of a group of people who had good sobriety and were putting their lives together. So that was again a miracle. I wouldn't have thought of any of that for myself.
Right. Couple things that I picked up on. Number one, you did something that a lot of people don't do, especially if they're in addiction, and that was going in with both hands and listening to that suggestion, because a lot of people won't. A lot of people, I guess, they feel like it's their pride or whatever gets in the way, which to me, no. That ain't your pride getting in the way. That's because you don't want to. You're scared of something. So I commend you for that. And I didn't realize you were in addiction. Is that what led you to living in the truck?
That and some life choices and getting thrown out of where I was living.
Wow.
And then losing my job. Yeah. So it was a perfect storm of losership.
So was it just alcohol and drugs?
Drugs was a big part of my story, but it was alcohol at the time.
And you're in recovery now?
36 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, first of all. Man, I should have had you on in September.
September 1st was September 1st, 1989 was when I got sober.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, we just did a big pot-a-thon for recovery. In September, we had to raise money for a local nonprofit here that helps women in recovery.
Oh, amazing.
So we did 12 days straight, talking to 12 different women, 12-step program. But yeah, I'm sure you know, because I mean, you're living it, but some of these stories I hear, it'll bring tears to your eyes. You'll laugh, and it opens your mind up. And I have to commend you and all these other people that just talk about it, because a lot of people are afraid to, and it helps. You're helping others, and that's a big thing.
You just reminded me today. I didn't realize today is the 3-year anniversary of my brother's death, who got me sober, and he died of addiction. He couldn't stay after he got me sober. He couldn't stay sober, and he died 3 years ago today. My God! And the thing that I learned is there, but for the grace of God, go I. Right? Like, why did I get sober and he didn't?
Right.
I'm a coach. I'm good at helping people, and I talk to him every single day before he died, and I still couldn't help him stay sober. He had a great group of friends and all that. So yeah, I don't know how much of it is your own will and how much of it is grace. I don't know what percent it is, and I don't really care. I'm just grateful that my kids never saw me drink.
Right. Now, is this your brother that you talked to that brought you out to DC?
Yes, he's the one who got me sober.
Oh, God, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Jeez. Oh. That's, I know that's hard. I mean, I lost my older brother he was my idol and my best friend. And that was the hardest death I ever dealt with. But I know he's still here, because there's times where I'll do something wrong and I feel him smack me in the back of the head, tell me to straighten up and all that. So, God, holy cow. So you moved out here, people know where I live. So you moved out to the
East Coast.
Yeah, you moved to the East Coast. So you're out here in DC. And what was it when you finally got out of the truck? What was it that you started doing to really help turn and the AA meetings to help turn your life around?
So I went to AA meetings, NA meetings. All my friends were in recovery. I got a job at the Four Seasons in Georgetown. So I waited tables, was able to get health insurance by working at a hotel, started taking college classes, and just, rinse, wash, and repeat. And I did everything I could to be a good, because I had the self-worth of the bottom of a shoe.
Right.
And I kind of wanted, I wanted to make up and redeem myself for being such a shit. And so I remember there was a woman in the program and said, Mark, I noticed about you, your t-shirts and your sneakers are so white. How do you get them so white? And that was a metaphor for, I was just trying to be good. Just be good. Just be good. Just be good. Right? Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. So that was my first several years in the program, was just doing my best not to screw up.
Wow. I take it. All right. You keep mentioning God. How was your faith before the recovery? Before you,
it was strong. It was actually really, really strong. I had a deep personal relationship with all things spiritual.
Good.
And then when I got sober, that's changed over the decades. But it's still the number one most important thing in my life is my I won't call it any denomination. One of my sons is a rabbi. I don't like spirituality and a connection to some sort of source is the most
right.
That keeps me sane.
Well, and I mean, that's all, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we still got to do an episode about this, but that's all part of the 12-step program in AA, right? And NA is different. Correct?
No, NA is Narcotics Anonymous. Still same 12 steps. They're just a little bit of a different focus.
That's what I mean. The focus is a little bit different. Okay. I again, this is something that because we talk about it a lot, but I don't even know what the program is. And me and my one co-host were talking about that. It's like that's an episode that we need to. Yeah,
I went to Debtors Anonymous and got myself out of debt. Like I use 12-step programs to learn all kinds of new life skills.
Wait a minute, there's a Debtors Anonymous?
Oh, Debtors Anonymous is a game changer. Nothing will grow you up faster than going to Debtors Anonymous.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's totally a thing.
How did you find out about that?
My fiance at the time, we were getting married. My fiance at the time was going to Debtors Anonymous. And she found out how much debt I was carrying. She said, you should come to meetings. I'm like, I don't need that. Like, that's craziness. And then I went to that, and because they make you cut up your credit cards. And credit cards were my, I was homeless. Credit cards were my safety. And when I cut up my credit cards, that's when my adult life began.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. All right. Explain to everybody, because there are, especially younger people, that probably don't understand, but why. I'm just going to say it. I feel like I'm watching Bobby Boucher and the Waterboy here, but explain why credit cards are the devil.
The credit cards aren't the devil, but again, everything has a dark side.
Right.
And, throwing out your card and not knowing what's coming at the end of the month and not seeing that. Like I go to the farmer's market every Saturday morning, and there's certain things that I purchase at the farmer's market, and they tell me how much it was. And I say, do not tell me how much those chicken breasts were that were raised on your farm. I do not want to know how much I'm spending on those chicken breasts because, again, unconsciousness is my friend here. Now, I can afford it, so that's the difference. But having that, I guess it's like that codependent parent that can bail you out at any time. That backdrop that you can have now and not later. It's that whole study where they said where the kid they leave a kid sitting there with a piece of candy and say, if you can not eat that candy for 5 minutes when we walk out of the room, you'll have 2 pieces of candy when we come back. And they, later in life, the people who were more successful were the people who could wait, get 2 pieces of candy versus the kid who wanted the candy now. I'm the kid who wants the candy now. I'm still the kind of person, people tell me they can't buy anything from me because I'm still the person who buys whatever I want for myself. I was homeless. I had nothing. If I want something, I buy it. And it gets me into trouble because, I had a business coach go over my business. He goes, "You make so much money. Where is it?" And I was like, "I don't know." And again, I had to get, at 63, I had to get conscious again. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the trap that credit cards and lines of credit do. And unfortunately, society, you and I were talking beforehand, there, I don't think society is evil, but I do think society has an agenda, and this society has an agenda that it wants our attention. It doesn't want our attention on what we want it on. It wants our attention on what they want it on. It wants us to spend money. The society works because we spend money. They give us seductive reasons to buy a new iPhone. I was at I don't need a new iPhone. I was at the iPhone store visiting the iPhone 17 Pro 3 times and walked out. That's how I know I'm an adult. I didn't buy it. But it's so seductive because I need the 8x zoom for some strange reason. But because you can put it on a credit card or you can finance it. Again, have now, pay later. It's always more expensive than doing the work now.
How did you go from, because you said at Four Seasons in Georgetown, right? Mm-hmm. So how is it you started working with these tech startups? You were doing sales, right?
Yeah. So what happened was I went and did a test at it was at Scientologist. I was walking past the Scientologist church, and the Scientologist gives you these tests. And and one of the tests was what vocation you should have. The other test was, are you contaminated by aliens? But one of the tests was, honest to God, they said to me,
I believe it.
So the test said I should either be a writer or a lawyer. And I'm like, I don't even have an associate's degree yet. I'm doing my best here. And I'm in my 30s. Like, I don't know what to do with that. And I write it at a fifth grade level. That's not happening. Turns out they were right about the writer thing though. But and they also said, and you really need to come back to clear out the alien DNA and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, I was already in a cult. I'm not coming, part of my story is being in a cult, right? I'm like, I can smell that a mile away. I got to go. But then they said, you can also be a salesman. And I was like, oh. So I started looking at sales jobs, and I would go to these sales jobs where they hire 10 people, throw them against the wall, see who sticks, right? It's no salary. It's all commission, and maybe one or two people stick, a month or something like that. And I tried a couple things, and I got a job selling computer training. And you also have to remember, I won Best Bartender Award in New Haven, Connecticut by the newspaper because I was such a great bartender. Then I quit drinking and got fired because I was no longer fun. And
you shouldn't be drinking as a bartender. I mean, you shouldn't be drinking while you're tending bar. Anyways.
Well, cocaine in the bathroom. It was the 80s, dude.
Oh, okay. You're right. Never mind. Oh, yeah.
I was fun.
Yeah.
but after I stopped drinking, I became an introvert, and I don't like to bother people. So what I learned selling, I was about to get fired from this computer training class, and I learned that if I got people to get to know me, if I built a relationship with people, they would buy. And that was my superpower. I went from about to be fired to the number one sales guy. Then I saw another product at a trade show. I talked them into giving me a job. I was super successful at that. And so I went from $26,000 a year to $50,000 a year to $100,000 a year to $125,000 a year to $200,000 a year. Like every year I just kept, and my wife at the time was like, what is happening here? Because when she married me, I said to her, I may never be anything other than a waiter. You have to be okay with that. And she was okay with marrying me. Next thing you know, I'm driving an Acura TL, and we're moving into $1 million house. And then a friend of mine who worked at a tech company said to me, and I knew him from AA. He said, you're not learning how to be a real sales guy in these small companies. Come work here, and we'll teach you how to do actual tech sales. And that's when my career started, and I went from startup to startup. Just building a career.
Were they tech companies here in this area, in the Maryland, DC?
No, they were
area?
all Silicon Valley based.
Oh, okay.
My resume is just crazy with fast household name tech companies.
Oh, wow. Do you miss that at all?
No.
Either do I.
I do miss someone else paying my American Express. I don't, being
that's always nice.
Pay my own American Express. That's not as fun as when I could go to the Capitol Grill and just expense everything, because everybody was my friends. I'd take everybody to a suite at a Nationals game, and that would be fun. Now it's all on me.
The funny thing is, if they're, what do they call it? The multiverse, parallel universes or whatever. I think we're the same person, because I was a bartender. I was in the IT. Well, I went into car sales, radio sales, and then the IT field. And now here I am, professional podcaster. It's like,
we're the same person.
And we're the same
And if I
age.
let my beard grow, it'd be all white.
Well, hey, it comes off after Christmas, so I play Santa Claus. That's the only reason I'm growing it. I said I'll grow the beard, but I'm not growing the belly anymore. I lost that. I'm going to let it keep away. Okay, so with the tech company, how come you haven't wrote a memoir about yourself yet?
My publisher keeps asking me to write a memoir about all this stuff. I am not ready or willing to write a memoir yet.
Yet.
I don't know that I ever will be, but again, the only time I write is when something really has to be written, and like it just wants to come out, and if it's going to serve. So like, again, most books don't sell but a couple hundred copies. So it's a big endeavor, a big expense. For not a lot of payoff. I just happen to be lucky that the Rising Leader Handbook is almost 2 years old, and it's still on the leadership charts. So I'm very fortunate with that. So yeah, ride this book for a little while longer.
And that's your second or third book?
I've been part of 5 books. This is my kind of my third book.
All right. So, what was the first book you wrote on your own?
So I wrote Only Tens, and then at the 5-year anniversary, they asked me to rewrite it and republish it. So I consider that a completely new book, because it's a bit of a different book. Only Tens 2.0.
Okay.
And then the Rising Leader Handbook, and then there's a couple of compilation books that I've contributed to.
All right. So, what is Only Tens about?
So that was me. It's one of the things I learned late in life after we were testing my son for a learning disability is that I have severe ADHD, and that
oh, wow.
just told me everything I needed to know about why I was an addict, about why I couldn't pay attention. I had the part of your brain that has executive function is dark on my scans. I don't have executive function, so I don't have a. We were talking about credit cards. I don't have a let's buy something and know I have to pay it back later. I don't have that cause and response. So the fact that I'm sober and haven't destroyed myself is a miracle. So Only Tens was me grappling with being a solopreneur, because it was when I left tech and I was sitting in my office at home going, oh, what should I do? I have 5,000 different ideas. How do I focus on what I need to do to get where I want to go? And that was my and people found that really useful, and people started giving it to executives on how to prioritize. And they used my system for ADD for all kinds of prioritization. And it changed my life and changed my career.
So, wait, that's what that book's about? Oh, I got to get that. I'll send you a copy
after we get off. And by the way, your listeners can go to my website. I give that book away for free. They can get a hard copy or a PDF of the book for free from my website.
Yeah, and your website is very hard to remember. Those of you listening, it's Mark, not Mike, Mark J, just the letter J, Silverman, or Silverman, but silver spelled out man.com. So make sure you go there and purchase his books. Listen to the podcast, get him as a coach, hire him as a speaker. You can basically
give the poor guy some work.
Give him some work. I mean, God, this is amazing, because I just had somebody else on talking, and she wrote a book about ADHD for adults, and I've never been tested, but I swear up and down that I have it, because I just cannot. I just get so many ideas going through my head, and it's hard to focus on one, except for this. I love doing this. So, all right. So you had that. And then what was the second book?
Yeah. It goes Only Tens 2.0, which is the one I'm giving away. And then the Rising Leader Handbook is the current book, because what I do for a living, what I do every day is coach senior executives in corporate America.
Only senior executives?
Pretty much. Those are the only people who will pay me.
All right. Well, then that makes sense. But all right. So when did you start doing the speaking then?
Speaking started with only tens, actually. I
Okay.
used to speak about my story. People always, like, again, people have me on their podcast. People have me on their stage because my story is colorful. It's the short Jewish Tony Robbins version of that kind of thing, right?
I love that.
With the only tens, I started speaking about prioritization. I started speaking about how to pay attention and how that helps you in business, and did workshops all around the world with those. And now it's speaking about leadership, because it's basically what I do all day, every day. It's why I wrote the book. A friend of mine said, you don't have anything in the world that actually talks about what you do with your clients. So reading the Rising Leader Handbook is like having a coaching engagement, a 6-month coaching engagement with me.
And so with the Rising Leader, did the book come before the podcast?
Same time. I changed the name of my podcast. My first podcast was Mastering Midlife: How to Thrive When the World Asks the Most of You. Then I turned 60 and was like, I'm going to leave Mastering Midlife to the younger folk. And it was Mastering Overwhelm, which was the only 10 stuff. And then when we released the book, it became the Rising Leader podcast, because it was much more in line with what I do for a living.
Right. So was it your plan to actually start the podcast, or did somebody else put that thought into your head?
Having a podcast was the furthest thing from my mind. I feel, I hear my voice and I think like I sound like a male Fran Drescher, the nanny. I can't stand the sound of my voice. Thank God podcast mics, deepen it a little bit. And I was sitting on my meditation cushion, and the voice while I was meditating said, "Start a podcast." Well, I don't want to start a podcast. Next day, start a podcast. I don't want to start a podcast. Next day, Mark, start a podcast. I'm like, I'm not starting a podcast. And then I was coaching a client of mine, and he just talked about how he had just purchased a podcast production company. I said, funny, you should say that. I was thinking maybe I should start a podcast. He's like, absolutely. I will set you up with a producer and all this stuff. And next thing I know, I'm doing 3 episodes a week.
So, and you're still doing it through the production company?
My production company has been like a light switch to me. And again, with ADHD, if I had to wait for me to edit things and me to do, Burberry and whatever places they need to be, not going to happen. So I have a light switch taking care of that stuff. That's one of the secrets for me of running a successful business, is I hire people to do the important things that I know I won't get to. So again, I have a bookkeeper. It's expensive to have a bookkeeper, but I will tell you, I never miss a quarterly tax payment. Ever since I've had a bookkeeper. I have money in the bank because I have a bookkeeper. So I hire people to do the things I know are important for my business that I will just keep putting off.
That's smart. I mean, you look at some of the greatest minds out there, like Henry Ford and all, that's what they did. They brought in they didn't know what they were doing. They hired people that knew what they were doing. They had the vision. And that's how you do it. That's how you're successful.
It was something I learned when I was a salesman. I would rack up so many expenses. It was several $1,000s a month in expenses at the level of sales that I was doing and entertaining and all the things I was doing. And I wouldn't put my expenses in, but every 6 months, if that. And,
oh, wow.
And my company would be sending me emails, and they would call me and they would say, "Where's your expenses? We're not going to pay your expenses," and all that. And I finally realized there was an admin who worked there who was doing somebody else's expenses, and she charged 10%. So I asked her to do my expenses. She took 10% of what I got reimbursed. And I realized I lost more than 10% of my receipts over time.
Oh, wow.
So she was worth her weight in gold. I would just give her all my receipts, and she would put everything in. It took her 5 minutes. It took me, again, with ADD, if you know this, I'm going to do my expenses. So I got to get a drink. I got to get the right lighting. I got to sharpen my pencils. What music do I want to listen to? Maybe I'll get to my expenses. And she would just knock it right out. So I learned that early, like hire the people who are good at things to do them, and you do what only you can do.
So for 6 months you weren't. So that means you weren't turning in like anything for mileage or anything.
I would be in the hole like $10,000, and my now ex-wife would say, she'd be like, "When are you going to put in your expenses?" I'm like, "It's a savings account. Like we get a big check every 6 months." And she's like, "No, you're losing money." And she loved the fact that I hired someone to do it for me.
All right. So with the ADHD. And as successful as you are, and I'm sure you've heard it before, there are some people out there that say, "Oh, well, you'll never amount to anything because of that." What do you say to those people?
I think people who are neurodiverse are the most gifted, talented, creative people on the face of the planet. I have a friend who's dyslexic. He's fucking brilliant. I know people who are autistic. Absolutely off the charts, brilliant. It's just, again, we all have skills. We all have places where we're not that good at stuff. And if we can identify those things and then find the people to augment, almost every CEO that I work with has some flavor of ADHD or ADD. They're visionaries, they're idea people. And if they don't have implementers, if they don't have people who are adept at getting their ideas concrete into the world, they just starve. So it's always important to have the complementary disciplines and complementary talents.
Something else you mentioned earlier, and I think this is very important for people to do. I know it helps me a lot. I do it every day. How often do you meditate?
Every day.
I mean, during the day. How long do you meditate?
It's been an hour every day.
Wow. Okay.
But I've been in some programs to deepen that, because that's become my focus over the last year. Actually, since I've become 60, over the last 3.5 years, I've been really focusing on deepening that connection and bringing that to whatever it is I do. But a morning routine, I tell everybody I meet, a morning routine, the ability to sit with a cup of coffee without your phone for 5 minutes is a game changer. If you can do journaling, there's so many. Just Google on YouTube journaling, and you'll get 5 different journaling methods. Buy a journal with prompts. Anything you can do to be contemplative, to get out of that monkey mind, to get out of that automatic thinking and get present will be the game changer. I have a saying that's in the Rising Leader Handbook, is the person who's grounded and centered in a meeting has the power. Because most people are just up in their heads, and most people are just reacting to childhood wounds in every boardroom I've ever been in, trying to get a word in, trying to get seen, trying all that stuff. And if you can be grounded and centered, you can navigate those conversations in such a masterful fashion.
Okay, so with the books, with both of them, and especially with the ADHD, how long did it take you to, 2-part question, how long did it take you to write them, and what was the most challenging part of writing them?
Right. So I wrote the Only Tens in 90 days because I joined a program of 90 days from ideas to a book.
Wow.
And then I had a coach who had the frameworks for me. Again, she was like, "All right, let's start with chapter 1." And I couldn't start with chapter 1, chapter 2. I had to bounce around and just write whatever was there. I have to write books quickly because I get bored of the topic real quick.
Okay.
The Rising Leader took a little bit longer. It took me less than 90 days to write the book. But then I didn't like it. My publisher thought it was ready. I didn't like it. And I didn't know what to do about it. It just didn't make sense to me. And then one day I sat down, I went through the entire book. I rewrote everything I wanted to rewrite. And then it made sense to me. Then it was ready to go out.
In a day
it took me a couple days to do that. But one day, I didn't know what was wrong. And then typical ADD, I knew exactly what was wrong and went through the entire thing and got it done.
What did your publisher say when you sent that copy to him?
You were right. She says, this is much more coherent. It was great. She said it was great before. This is much more coherent.
Now, is it the same publisher for both books? So you're not self-published.
But no, I'm basically self-published. I have, there's so many people who will help you edit the book. They'll coach you through the book. They'll publish the book for you. So again, it's published through her publishing company, but it's basically self-published. I own the rights.
You need to write a book on how to write a book with ADHD.
I help so many people write books.
Do you really?
I get them to write it. But there's so many. The way people are writing books now is if they're writing it AI assisted.
Yeah.
So they're speaking their ideas into AI. They're writing their ideas into AI and then letting AI kind of complete that thought. And that's the way almost everybody's writing their new books.
Right.
If I do write another book, I won't write it that way.
Yeah, and you don't want AI to edit it either.
Yeah, I can't. I have AI edit my newsletter here and there, and every once in a while I let it do a little too much, and someone will send me a note saying, "Was this AI?" I'm like, "Well, okay, I went a little. I let it have a little too much free reign."
Wow. So what's the next book?
I think the next book is going to be about how to basically live life. I'll live life from my perspective. I'm a guy who has a lot of demons, who has a lot of distractions that will take me off my game. And in order for me to build a life, there's a lot of things I have to put into my life in order to to raise children who are functional and happy and loving people, right? To have a great relationship with my ex-wife, to have my current relationship work, to have my business work. I've read every self-help book. I've read almost every spiritual book on the planet over the years. I've gone to all these workshops. I've done medicine journeys. I've done all this stuff. And I've written a lot of things about my journey, and to put them in, the thing that's starting to come to me is to put it into a 365-day journal kind of thing, like one a day or one a week or something like that, because I have so much writing and so many insights. And again, like, would anybody be interested? I don't know, but that one person, because sometimes I'll get a note, from a newsletter or something like that, and someone will just write back to me, "This is exactly what I needed to hear today. How did you know?" And it's worth it, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if thousands or millions of people. It's that one person gets impacted.
Yep.
That it's not up to me. It's up to me to do the work. It's not up to me who gets impacted by it.
Yeah, if you can change one person's life for the better, then you did what was meant to do, or what you were meant to do. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I do this. If that message gets across to even one person and it helps them, then it was successful. That's the way I look at it. So what's the next big thing for Mark Silverman?
Mark Silverman is in the hallway right now. I don't know. I just married off my rabbi son, my youngest son. My other son, my older son just got engaged, and he's getting married pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, I woke up after the engagement party. I woke up feeling like today would be a good day to retire. Now, I'm not going to retire, but it just felt like today would be a good day to retire. And I guess it meant for me, it's like, oh, the world's my oyster. What do I want to do? I'm always going to coach. I love my clients. I love what I do.
Yeah.
What do I want to talk about on stage? And for me, I think it's leadership for spirituality. Bringing. There's a guy I just interviewed, Scott Bitten, who's wrote a book about ambition for personal growth. The spirituality of ambition, and I like to find the spirituality in leadership. And because again, every time you have to show up for someone, every time you have to humble yourself to a superior, every time you have to work with a team of other leaders, all of that is spiritual growth. All of that is practical spiritual growth, and I think that's what I want to talk about from stage.
I like that. I was on your website too. You got a lot of great books that you recommend. A lot of great. I take it you've read them all.
I have.
I mean, it's talking about, whether it's spiritual books, self-help books, you can find it on Mark's website. So definitely go there and check it out. So with your podcast, the Rising Leader Handbook, you already mentioned it. So you are talking to different guests. Now, is that for every episode, or it's just like every other episode?
No, the deal I have with the production company is that I do a solo episode at least every other week, because she likes my solo episodes. So I every other week is an interview. Every other week is a solo episode. I like to talk to leaders who've been in the trenches, who've learned something, who can teach something.
Right. All right. So for those people that want to get into podcasting, and you've been doing it for a while
6
now,
years.
What's been the hardest part about podcasting for you?
Turning people down for the podcast.
That is hard.
That's so hard to tell people, you're wonderful, you're not right for the podcast. That's just really hard.
I have a hard time doing that still. It's and the thing is, because with me, like I said, September, for those of you listening, we're recording October 3rd. So September, it was talking to people in addiction recovery. So when I had people contacted me, said, "Hey, yeah, I'm a musician, I'd like to come on." Well, yeah, not this month. But look into November. Maybe we could book it now. It's hard to say no. But those of you getting into podcasting, you have to learn how to do it, because
you have to know to know what you're trying to bring to your audience, and then you have to make sure you guard that, because it's a pact you make between you and your audience, that they're going to show up and they're going to hear what they're hoping to hear.
Oh yeah. And all right. So how many, because we talked about this with your books, and I'm sure it's happened with the podcast. How many times have listeners actually reached out to you and thanked you for an episode?
Oh, that happens. That happens weekly.
Feels great, doesn't it?
That's wonderful. When someone sends you a link to the podcast they listen to, and they say, "When you said this," or "When your guest said this," that's just fuel for a living.
Now, how long have you been guesting on podcast?
Probably since before I was on a podcast. Yeah, my friend had me on his podcast to talk about my story, and I didn't have a mic or anything. I heard my voice on the thing, and it was just that's what scared me from podcasting, and that was the first time I was on. And then now I'm on quite a few.
I was going to say, do you know how many you've been on?
200.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's helped with book sales and everything else?
Don't know. Really, I actually really don't know. I've gotten a few clients from being on podcasts.
Okay.
Again, 98% of my clients come from referral. They don't come from my books. They don't come from my podcast. They don't come from my speaking. They come from referral. Right. Which is, but I do know when people are referred to me, they're like, "Yeah, I listened to your podcast," or "Yeah, I went on YouTube and saw some of your videos." So I know that people are checking me out, but almost always it's someone says, "You have to talk to Mark about this specific thing," and then because I have that's easy. Those are the easiest to close and have them hire you.
All right. So with everything you've been doing, I guess you could say you're King Midas, because it seems like everything you're touching, it's turned into gold.
Everything that people see. So, there's quite a few things that have turned to shit.
All right, let's say business wise. Well, the IT field, yeah, some of them could have turned to shit too. So it's hard to say.
Some of them did not go well.
Yeah. Oh God. Layoffs, mergers. I hate. Well, never mind. That's a whole other one. What's probably the biggest misconception that people have about success?
The people who are successful aren't scared. I know how I come across to the world. And I always have to remind people, I am scared every time I show up on a podcast. I am scared every time I show up on a stage. I'm scared when I show up with a new client.
And that's a good thing.
I have been scared my whole life. Every single thing I've done in life, I've done scared. And when you really get to know people who are super successful, I mean, and I've spoken to the CEOs of, multi-billion-dollar corporations. Every single person is human and has the same feelings you do. They're just able to step over the door, the ledge, and take an action that terrifies them.
That's one of the things I'll never forget. When I was DJing for years, every time I had to do a wedding, I think I had more butterflies than the bride and groom. I was a nervous wreck because it has to be perfect. You can't have any mishaps or anything. And anytime you're working with electronics or even computers, anything can happen, and it has, unfortunately. But that's why you have backups. All right, so Mark, if you could go back and talk to that 27-year-old version of yourself, what would you say?
Don't buy so many cars. I've wasted so much money on new cars. Oh, and don't sell Apple stock to finance your life, because
no, you didn't.
I sold my Tesla, Google, and Apple stock when I got divorced to finance my life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a couple $1 million just not in the world. Again, that lack of executive function, future consequences.
Holy cow. Yeah. If you ever write your memoir, man, that is going to be a bestseller. I can see that now. Or you could just write a book alone on, why you shouldn't sell these stocks. Oh my God. I
am up 400% on my Bitcoin now. So.
All right, that's still one thing I haven't learned about is Bitcoin. I guess I should. I think that's where it's
But if you have, the truth is, if I was to go back to talk to any 27-year-old, is do the thing you're scared to do. If you're pulled to do it and you want to do it, turn the fear into excitement, get the support you need, and go do it. Because every single thing that I have in my life, from my children to my career, is something I was terrified to do, and they are the most important things.
But you're always, you listen to suggestions, and you would reach out with both hands and take the bull by the horns, I guess you could say. Yeah. As long as it wasn't that stock market bull that you had to never mind. All right. So Mark, before I get to my last question, which I have no idea what it's going to be, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, the most important thing I want people to know is that head trash, the crap that you hear in your head about you is not true. It is just automatic negative thoughts, as they call them, and they will steal more of your life than anything else. And I know it because I have it in my head right now. That's a stupid thing to say, Mark. Like just constant. It's relentless, and you don't have to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of a book that really helped turn my life around. And actually, it's not on your resources. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
Ah.
Have you heard of that?
I have. The thing I don't like about The Secret is that people don't read it all the way to the end.
They don't even watch the movie all the way to the end. And I don't understand.
If you don't get to the end, you don't know that it isn't just visualizing and hoping something will show up. Every person in The Secret, everything in The Secret is, I had a vision and then I worked my ass off to get it. That's why I don't recommend The Secret, because people don't, again, it's like Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. But then he's like, follow your bliss and work your ass off. Right? Like there's always more to that.
People don't like to hear the catch.
I don't like to hear the catch.
I guess you could say.
I'm one of them. I'm totally one of them.
All right, so Mark, give me a number between 1 and 100. That's going to determine my last question.
42.
42. Come on. Serious?
You said between 1 and 100, right?
Yeah. Okay, 42. Never mind, because the guest I had on earlier was about to say 42, and he said no, 43. So why number 42?
I was telling my next appointment that I'm going to be 5 minutes late, and you guys may pick a number.
Oh, well, this is a great question. So, what's a value that guides most of your decisions? And I think I know the answer to this.
Whew. Is it loving?
Oh, okay. I was not expecting that answer. Wow. Okay. That's why'd you say that?
My one thing in life is everybody who meets me needs to feel loved, accepted, and seen.
Man, I love that.
So unconditional love and forgiveness. I'm still working on it, but that's my one thing.
I love that. Mark, I want to thank you so much. It's been an honor, and you got to come back on when that memoir comes out.
Okay, deal.
Those of you listening, don't forget, go to markjsilverman.com. Purchase his books. After you purchase his books, make sure you leave a full review, whether it be on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes, and wherever you can leave reviews. Listen to his podcast as well. You got to listen to it because it's great. The Rising Leader with Mark J. Silverman. And make sure you leave a review about that as well. Mark, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate you. This was fun.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com. The Joppatown Lions Club, serving the community since 1965. Visit them at joppatownlionsclub.org. And don't forget the E at the end of Joppatown because they're extraordinary.